Ladies and gentlemen, please stand by for a special announcement by Plant Abundance. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I have an important topic that I wanted to discuss with you all today, and it has to do with finding the time to get out into the garden and get some things planted for this upcoming season. But I know there's many of you out there who have yet to actually get your garden going, or you've been thinking about growing some more food, but you just can't find the time. And trust me, I get it. Life is busy. We got work, family, chores, honey-do lists, side businesses, everything going on. How do we find time to get out into the garden? Now, I know a lot of you out there are under the impression that I probably spend a whole lot of time out in the garden. And actually, the truth of the matter is I can count how many hours I spend out in the garden on one hand per week. And most of that time, I'm actually out there producing videos or harvesting at this point. Really, the bulk of the work came early on. And one of the main reasons that I don't have to spend a whole lot of time out in my garden is because it's predominantly a perennial-based food forest style garden. Now, annual gardens and plants are worth every bit of your time. They're amazing. They provide you with so much abundance and can actually save you time from having to go to the store if you want to look at it that way. But when we're talking about perennial plants, so fruit trees and berry shrubs, different kinds of greens, flowers, medicinal plants and herbs, we're talking about digging a hole just one time to plant that seed or starter plant. And with just a little bit of babysitting, a little water here and there, maybe a little nutrient, what you will have ended up doing is making one of the best possible investments of your life. Now, in this day and age, there's not many things that you can count on that are going to give you a near guaranteed return on your investment. But that's not true with gardening. It's about a 99.9% return rate when it comes to establishing perennial plants in the garden. And that's because once this plant matures and starts to produce, just the first harvest in many cases, you're going to recoup that initial investment you put into it. And for years and years, 30, 50, maybe even 100 years, you're going to continue to reap rewards from these plants. There's, like I said, nothing else like it out there in the way of an investment. Gardening is one of the best things you can do for yourself, for your family, for your well-being, self-sufficiency. And that's why I'm so passionate about this message that I'm sharing with you today, because I myself have benefited so many different ways from the garden that now I just want to share it because I know it can help so many folks out, whether it's save you money month per month or actually contribute to your health or just get you outside and get you away from the noise of everyday life. So this message today is really directed towards the folks out there who have the hardest time finding any spare moment to get out and tend to a garden. Think about establishing some perennial plants. Bare root fruit tree season is right around the corner. We're talking about just days away in some areas. So consider picking up a couple fruit trees or maybe some grapevines, berry shrubs. If nothing else, you can spend a couple hours out in the garden, get these plants established, and I guarantee in the future you'll be happy you did. Now, on a side note, I wanted to address another question or a comment rather that's come through on the channel quite a bit, where folks are concerned about establishing a garden with perennials in it in an area where they know they're probably not going to be living all that long. Maybe they're renting a property or they have plans to move in the near future, and they really don't want to put that investment or time or energy into that landscape. My feelings on that are this. If you're renting a property, then it's probably going to be okay to establish a fruit tree or two, a couple perennial plants. Check with your landlord if you think it's necessary. But whether you're renting or you own a property with a little bit of land and you think you're moving soon, think of it like this. To leave behind the gift of a food-producing plant is one of the best things that you can do while you're here on this planet. You know, before Alice and I landed at this particular property, the last place we were at, we were enjoying the fruit of trees that were planted probably 50 years ago. We're talking plum trees, there were pear trees, and we were also getting blackberries that were growing all around. And I got to tell you, it was one of the things that I looked forward to every single year. So to think back that somebody 50 years ago or more took the time, the effort to put these plants in the ground, and now I'm reaping the reward. And it also spurred something within me that helped to create the gardener who you know today. So don't ever think that leaving behind plants at one location is a bad thing. It's a good thing. If everyone had this type of mentality, we'd be living on an abundant planet with food that's growing everywhere instead of having these food deserts everywhere. With that being said, to get back to my earlier point, if you do stay long enough to even reap your first harvest, you're going to recoup that initial investment. Most fruit trees, for example, are going to cost you anywhere between $20 to $40. And the first year that that tree produces a decent amount of fruit, you're going to get that value back. Generally, you can expect that to happen within 3 to 5 years. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Just know you don't have to spend hours and hours every day working hard out in the garden, breaking a sweat. If you want to do that, that's great. I myself like to get out in the garden and do some work, but I find that year after year, because of this perennial-based food forest style garden, I'm having to spend less and less time actually doing any work, and instead, I'm harvesting all the rewards of that investment that I made earlier. It truly is one of the best investments you can make. And so with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and for those of you tuning in today who have been into gardening for quite some time and you know exactly what I'm talking about, how about giving this video a thumbs up just to show your support and that you agree with this message? Also consider dropping a comment below. That really does help the channel to grow. And if you're new to the channel or you found this information useful or helpful in some way, please consider rating the video, shooting me a comment, and subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the journey. We're going to continue to pump out the content for you for this upcoming gardening season. Let's grow this community together and help each other out. And so with that, I hope this video finds you and finds you well, out in the world and out in your garden, planting more abundance in your life. Take care, everyone. I'll be talking to you again soon.